Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 20th day of October 2020. Well, we have an interesting numerology, a 1 for the uh, the month, and then a 20 for the day, and a 2020 for the day and the year. So it's an interesting pattern there. I mean, we reduce it to 2, of course, so it'd be a 2 energy for today. And then, of course, the year would be reduced to 22. So the cosmic builder, that's a master number for profound soul level manifestation. You know, anything can happen this year that's transformative. If we put our minds to it and come into alignment with our true purpose and with one another. You know, that's kind of been something that's been difficult to not only achieve but maintain. You know, over the last 4 years there's been so much divisiveness. So, you know, is it any wonder, you know, on an election year where we have the chance to transform the situation into a shared direction forward? I think that a lot of the readings that we've been doing here have been signaling that. But it basically, 2 is also about decisions. It's about balance, reciprocity, all of that. So you can understand the notion of harmony, you know, contained within the 2 today. So let's see what the cards have to say. I like I say, I think that likely, you know, it's going to indicate something that can get us there, or can talk about some things that might be interfering with the process. We've had a lot of readings where there's been a lot of deception, betrayal, lying, conning, all of that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the cards. I did go ahead, and it's interesting. Yesterday's geomancy rune was Puella, which is, you know, scattered little girl energy, and I was saying that the opposite is scattered little boy energy. So of course that's what when I threw my runes down, this is what I got. Poor. Again, scattered little boy energy. Lack of impulse control, but youthful in nature. So not in the same vein as the adult version of it, which is, I believe, to be Rubius, which is far more about misuse of power and ego run amok and all of that. But again, it's a loosening of perception. It's a loosening of choice. And with Kenaz, the 6th rune of the Elder Futhark, as the rune for today, then we're looking at the light of spirit, basically informing. It's revelation, it's transformation, it's healing, it's awakening. Oh, why did that pop up? Make that go away. It's the torch. It's a fire element rune. Clarity, well-being, love, intuition. Again, transformation. So I think that, you know, using the light of spirit, you can properly use the loosening of perceptions, if you will, and direct it in a place of enlightenment and clarity. You know, kind of that's the thing about right now. We're also in Mercury retrograde, and you know, we think about it in terms of, oh well, don't buy electronics, and you know, communications can go awry and all of that. Well, all that's true, because you know, electronics are really about communication, and so anything communication related, contracts, they say don't sign contracts during this time, because there can just be misunderstandings. You know, there could be things that are not quite as clear. But the other thing that it does, again, is it loosens perceptions. If things aren't clear, well, it forces you to stop and think about what do I have to do to make this clear? What do I need to know? And so it urges you at that point, I think, to look beyond and look behind things, look beyond what you see, and try to find out if, in fact, what you're believing is, in fact, the truth. Or have you just been used by somebody who wants something, you know, that they really shouldn't have? because they're not either qualified or capable, or it just isn't right, you know. uh, I've known people that they just they impose their will on other people. It's not theirs to do, but they do it, and it never ever turns out well for them, right? But in the meantime, they can cause all kinds of consternation for people. So again, use this time, use this 2 energy day to bring things into balance, and it's particularly your perceptions, and also how you feel about other people. We talked about this yesterday. This is a time of dropping resistance to whatever issues that you might have had with loved ones, with friends and family, uh, likely political. Um, there's a reason why we don't talk about politics amongst people we love, because when we do, then it's no fun, and people push each other's buttons, and all of that. And I think that when you have someone in the Oval Office that will spur that on and incite that with people, well, you can see why it's been a difficult time. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first 3 cards. If we need any more, we'll take them. Otherwise, let's go ahead and see what we have for today. And again, for randomness sake, I'm taking the 13th one. Each time I draw a card. Oh, well, I'll show you. 11th card of the Major Arcana, Justice. Now, the 11 we leave alone. It's also another master number for illumination and awakening in this 22 year. But you can see it's also about balance. Justice is. And if you were to reduce it to 2, which we won't, but if you did, then we'd have a 2 energy from it. And again, we're talking about balance. And so when we talk about balance, and we're also talking about justice, aren't we? About what's right, what's fair, what's realistic. The Queen of Wands, a fiery queen, a fiery woman in authority. Her staff bends toward spirit, basically. It's a little bent down there at the bottom, but then it angles straight again. She's holding a sunflower in her left hand, and so, that's vitality. It's also Kenaz, in a way. Here we have the Ace of Swords. The beginnings of new perception, new thought, new awareness, new balance. New ideas, clarity, again, aligning well with Kenaz. I'm going to shuffle a little bit more just in case we need a 4th card. All right, we'll set those down. And if this is your first time here, welcome. Click subscribe. I'd love you to do that. And let's see, I left my rings. Where did I put them? Oh, I know where they are. Well, no rings today. Sometimes wearing rings interferes with my shuffling anyway, so I don't always wear my rings. But lately I've been wearing them more. Now that the gardening is, my hands aren't so much in the dirt. I don't. Otherwise, I don't like to get them scratched and all of that. But anyhow, let's go ahead and move Justice to the center. And again, we've talked about this before. You can move your cards around in tarot. It's your reading. Make it make sense to you. I think that let's go ahead and talk about justice. We see, it's the 11th card again of the Major Arcana, so a soul archetype card. We see the Queen, or the Lady Justice, sitting on her throne. It's a throne of power. You see the red. She's wearing red. There's also gold. She's wearing a gold cape. It looks gold. Well, it's just some gold on the shoulder part of it. The rest of it is red. The throne itself and the pillars, of course, look like they're made of concrete or something like concrete. So there's the whole strength associated with that. There's also strength associated with the red, also vitality, power. But you see, it's power that's balanced. She holds a sword in one hand, similar to the ace. That's in her right power hand. Now that's pointed straight up to spirit. There's no angling to it at all. If it were slightly askew, then I'd be like, oh, okay, what are you not telling me, right? It's like when someone you're trying to get the truth out of somebody, you just want a straight answer, and they look around. It's like, look right here, look right here, tell me right here, yeah. But that's not the case. And in her left hand, in her receptive hand, she holds the scales in balance. So it's justice that's informed by spirit. It's established by spirit. It's not established by ego. It's not established by humanity itself. It comes from the Creator. So again, balance, justice, fair play, reason. It could have to do with a legal situation. If you're involved in a legal situation, you can look at it from that standpoint. But if you do, then you're looking at us, either you are a woman in authority within it, if you're looking at it that way. You see the lions on both sides of her throne. You see again the red behind her. She's holding the sunflower again in her left hand, similar to the scales in Lady Justice's left hand. The power of creativity, the power of the fire element, of the will within. She's holding her staff again. She's got her cat right in front of it, right there. And again, you can see that it's slightly bent. My staff is the same. I don't know. If you stand it up in the corner and you don't stand it properly, it's going to bend over time. Mine did. But it's cool. It's got runes on it. It's got a big pink rose quartz point. Well, I don't have a point like that in here. Do I? No. But it's big, and it's up on top, and I've got it affixed to the top. It's very cool. Anyway. But you can see that it bends towards spirit. So she's strict, she's generous, she's talented, she's successful. She's an older woman in authority, the queen is. But like the Queen of Swords, she doesn't, she doesn't like foolish people. She doesn't like games. She doesn't like any of that. Realistically, the king is after her, but just like in the major arcana, the empress comes first, followed by the emperor. The strength is really found in the female. The strength is because it's the goddess presence manifested. And so you could say with the Queen of Wands, you're talking about a very talented individual who's aware, she's successful, not much gets past her. And right now, if this is about a legal contract that you need to sign, which you don't want to do that right now during Mercury retrograde. You want to wait till after, and you could do it after the 3rd of November, but realistically, there's a little bit of shadow effect at the end of you always have a little bit before and a little bit after. So it's really longer than 3 weeks. So if you really, so for a contract, I would wait until mid-November at least before doing something like that. But say you could right now, or a decision needs to be made. All right. One where you need to evaluate, do you evaluate in a just manner, right? You get all of the information you need before making the right decision for yourself. The thing is that, understand that you have a sense of authority about you. Okay. And you're not, you're a successful person. And so with that, that means that you've made some really good decisions along the way. So in a sense, you're well prepared, if that's what this is about, to make the decision you need to make. Now, the thing about the Ace of Swords that comes in, however, we see a hand reaching out from the clouds, familiar theme in tarot, with all the aces. So you can either look at that from the void, of source presence, where, it's really the unknown void of all of it, and it's coming really from an area that you're not aware of, or you are. But here you have the crown around the top of the sword, so that's indicating spirit. It's one of the symbolisms for crowns, especially when it's up above like that. You're getting the information from spirit. So we know the hands reaching out is from source presence, or from your oversoul, or higher self, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And the decision that you need to make, you need to cut through illusion, which you have the Queen of Wands here helping with that. Again, she's got experience. She knows. So even if this does not indicate you, and you need to make a decision, then you need to talk to somebody older than you are, or more experienced than you are, of a feminine nature. So you need to go talk to an older woman, or someone who's a successful woman who has had a lot of experience, perhaps, dealing with the kinds of situations that you are. In other words, that's the sort of individual you need to get your advice from, whether there's somebody actually older than you or not. It could be, a mentor or whatever, but you need to go and talk to somebody, if that someone isn't already you, and draw from their experience in terms of how to approach a situation with enlightenment, awakening, courage, balance, integrity, because that's what you have all wrapped up into justice, the justice card, the 11th card of the major arcana. But the Ace of Swords, in a sense, aligns quite well with the justice card, because this is new ideas coming out, new perceptions, cutting through the illusion, and understanding what the truth is. I mean, this is like the card of fundamental truth. It's said that the aces of each suit hold all of the energies of all of the cards within their respective suits. So the Ace of Swords contains the entire suit of swords within it. All that you learn along the way, all the different things that can happen when the air element gets away from us and our communication gets away from us. Again, we're in Mercury retrograde right now. And so we want to make sure that, especially on a Mars energy day, which Tuesdays are, you want to definitely balance will and intellect today, so that will isn't getting ahead of you and you make a decision that you really shouldn't be making. But it does suggest with the Ace of Swords that what we're looking at here is a complete shift in perception. So in other words, how you've been looking at something, how you've been seeing it, perhaps doesn't favor justice. And so you either go within to the authority within and figure it out, because you do have the experience there, right, to do it, or you seek the advice of an older or more experienced mentor type woman in your life to do that today. Let's see if we can get one more. It's just about, it's like calling your mom or a favorite aunt or your grandmother or just someone you've known for a long time that you really value their opinion because they have experience, just life experience, or in terms of the decision you need to make, so that you don't, it's easy to think only about yourself when you're making decisions, but I think at this point, we've seen what self-dealing does, in terms of the guy in the Oval Office. We see what self-dealing does. It's like he's on this last grand tour at the taxpayer's expense, hitting 3 places a day, I guess, is what he's planning on doing. But for what? So we can hear one final, 2-week long or 3-week long applause line, or what? Does he need the accolades so much, in other words, that he's got to go around and beg? Oh, I'm begging suburban women, all this nonsense. If you're feeling confused by it all, finally, that's a good place. Let the Mercury retrograde, the confusion sometimes, let it work for you. Instead of becoming caught up in it or involved in it, why not just stand back and look at it and assess it? Does it feel right to you? Does it? Does it feel right to chant lock her up about Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan? Does it? It shouldn't. I don't know. Well, here we have the Eight of Cups. This is about letting go of emotions that no longer serve you. Put them in order. Again, if the decision that you need to make is being clouded by emotion, you have to let go of what that is and embrace, something new. It's an emotional time, isn't it? You've got people dying. Are we up over 220,000 now? I think we are, of people that have passed from COVID. And it isn't just them, it's the people that have after they're supposedly over with it, all of a sudden they start developing these weird symptoms. They have no energy, or they start having heart problems. We don't know enough about the virus yet. It's new. Whatever you want to think about its source or how it got there, at this point, it doesn't matter. What matters is, how do we get through it, right? How do we get past it? And right now, it's not going to happen because we're what are they calling, like the third wave of the first wave? What? We're going into winter, and with all the other issues we deal with, the colds and the flus and all of that we deal with, and now we have the COVID-19 to deal with. It's like if we had simply all gotten together on the same page and wore a mask around one another, not just a face shield only, because that's stupid, but a mask, an actual mask, covering both the nose and the mouth, right? We could have contained this. And the issues with schools and the kids bringing it home to the family and the grandparents, and, we wouldn't be contending with that right now. In other words, because we behaved irresponsibly, some of us, and took a different path and thought this was a hoax, which it isn't. And won't you be so happy to not hear that word anymore for a while? Oh, it's a hoax. It's a witch hunt. It's a hoax. Witches everywhere just sort of went, seriously, dude, really? You want to go there? Do you really? Too bright. Anyway, the idea behind it, in other words, if we're stuck in this decision process today, whatever this is surrounding, whether it's something legal you're dealing with, or if it's just a decision you need to make, we need to shift our perceptions to something better, to something more elevated, to something more higher self-based. Get out of the ego of it all and find your balance, find your center, find it with the light of Kenaz, the torch of higher self coming in and saying, look, this is what the truth is here. This is the truth behind all of it. So this is the direction we now need to go. And it's one that's out of ego, because the ego's left behind with all of the overwhelming emotion. Now he's willing to do that, even though the path is a little bit rocky and he's going uphill. So it signals that the path may not be simple, especially if you've been dealing with perceptions that are emotion-based and you've gotten carried away with them. And then suddenly, it's like, the awareness comes knocking and says, oh, have you considered this? And it's like you're sitting there stuck going, oh my God, I've been thinking wrong all this time. I've been aligning with somebody maybe that I can't align with, or maybe I've been part of a group that I can't be part of. I got caught up in the emotion of it and I lost perspective. Well, it's one of those things now where the you know what's getting real, right? And it's time to let go of perceptions that no longer serve. It's time to let go of emotions that no longer serve and get with the true justice of it all, which I will tell you is never in service to self. It's always in service to others. So again, understanding this could be shifting your perception into a way that understands the plight of others, even understands what other people go through in life, and having compassion inform the decision that you have to make. I don't know, maybe letting go of the little poor energy, of the little boy energy, the lack of impulse control, and awaken, awaken to the kenaz within. And realistically, aren't we doing that when we employ a spiritual level of justice? We're awakening to that concept. We're getting out of the back and forth nonsense of the ego. And we're standing back and saying, okay, what's really going on here? And we're willing to look at it, no matter how messy it might be, no matter how much guilt we might feel even for believing one thing or another and acting upon it. And now you stand back and you go, oh boy, just do it, have the courage. Invoke the Queen of Wands in your life and have the courage and the integrity to change course into something new. Anyhow, I guess that's it. We've done enough damage. Thanks so much for watching. And do click subscribe. I'd love you to do that if you haven't already. And check out my blog over at Stepping Aside. It's the address is imsteppingaside.com. The links are below here. The esoteric influences are up for the week. And again, I'm just doing them for the week, not every day. I'm reminding people of that. What else do I need to remind you of? Have I done? Oh, I did a Thor's Hammer Magical Musings last week. I have to probably do one this week. So we'll see. I'm not sure what I'm going to do that on, though. Anyway, we passed the new moon. I could have done it on that, but I didn't. So I don't know. Anyhow, we'll let you go and have a good day. And again, wear a mask if you go out around anyone at all, whether you're inside or out. We've been lied to about that, and masks don't cause the virus. Testing doesn't cause the virus. Then we're going to get bigger numbers, but then we're going to know who's ill, right? And who can spread this, and if we can get everybody to quarantine, especially if you're one of those lucky people that breezes right through this without really too many symptoms. And there are those that happens to, but see, then after that, they can start having problems. We're starting to see the younger population, young adult population having problems, doing quite well through it. And then later on, they become what's known a long hauler, and without having, some of the nonsense the other folks did early on. But just understand, we're in a different place right now, and we need to get on the same page with it. So wear a mask when you're out and about, not just a face shield only. You want to wear one on top of it, that's fine. That's great, but because it'll protect your eyes. But you want to have a mask on, whether you're inside or out, whether you're around people, you must have a mask on now. So it's critical at this point. So anyhow, have a good day. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another, and blessed be.